Welcome to today's 5 Good Minutes. You're listening to today's inspirational message on the book of Jonah with Bjorklund.
Chapter 2, verse 8 of Jonah gives us this verse. Those who pay regard to vain idols forsake their hope of steadfast love. The NIV translates it this way. Those who cling to worthless idols forfeit the grace that could be theirs. This is potentially a statement about the sailors. That's how the ESV Study Bible takes this. It says, those who pay regard to vain idols refers to the pagan sailors who prayed each to his own God, but it's also a message to Jonah's idolatrous fellow Israelites. Ironically, these sailors ended up experiencing God's steadfast love while Jonah ended up in the sea. I actually think that this verse is Jonah's self-reflection. And what he's doing is he's, in one hand, regretting clinging to his worthless idols and having forfeited the grace of his. It's a statement potentially about the sailors and the Israelites coming. And it's a recognition that when he turns, that God is gracious. Because again, this whole book, this whole story is an account of the fork in the road that we come to, where we say, will I choose God's path or my path? And what is at stake is that when we choose a different path than God's path, we believe there's something down that path that is better for us than the path that God calls us to. And that by definition is idolatry. And usually what that is it's saying we are choosing this thing because we believe at the core of our being that this thing will be better for us, will give us more than following God. And so those who cling to worthless idols, he's saying, as a matter of principle, forfeit the grace that could be theirs. They are missing the very clear movement of God in their lives, the ability to say, I know that God has called me to this. Not so much know, but I know that God calling me to this is best because I've chosen these idols. Now, what's interesting, especially to me here, is the introduction of the word idols. There hasn't been anything in here up till this point. And he uses the word vain or worthless to describe the idols, as if to remind himself all the other things that we value and worship ultimately become worthless. And you and I, if we are going to, when we stand at the fork in the road, choose God's path, need to name and identify those idols and call them for what they are. We need to inspect the results, so to speak, in the lives of others and in our own life, the times that we choose those things, because they are alluring. They make us think that there's something good and right and beautiful in them that is enough. And so let me ask you today, where are you believing that walking away from God's path will bring you something better than God's path? Where is there something that you're thinking, I can't live without this, even if it costs me? Because that is getting close to a definition of an idol. And that idol will cost you the grace of God. Again, just listen to these words of the NIV. Those who cling to worthless idols forfeit the grace that could be theirs. They forfeit the grace that could be theirs. Maybe just a personalization of this. When I, Kurt, cling to and then fill in whatever it is, I forfeit the grace that could be mine. When I, Kurt, cling to my idea that my status is somehow rooted in my security and how I handle resources instead of trusting God with my money, I forfeit the grace that could be mine. When I tend to think that my greatest happiness will be in my family, I forfeit the grace that could be mine. When I choose to believe that that there is a bitterness and a resentment toward people that is somehow justified, I forfeit the grace that could be mine. Is it worth it? And the answer is always no. So today, take a few moments and write this sentence. When I believe or trust or choose this, and identify what it is, and I cling to it, I'm forfeiting the grace of God, and see what God reveals in your heart.
Thanks for joining us here today. There's a lot of great content to explore on Orchard Hill Plus and on the Orchard Hill main feed from the weekend. Have a great day.